today I have a friend of mine, Meghan King, on the show. Meghan, how are you, babe?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's like how we can hang out, too.
I know. Well, we met on St. Louis.
Yes.
Show Me St. Louis.
Show Me St. Louis.
When you were promoting your wellness. What was
Yeah, there was a wellness retreat with Gaia Haven Wellness that was a local one in St. Louis. You came.
Yes.
Yeah.
I came because I was like, I'm all about this. What is this?
Yeah. It was, that was the last one that I've done, and the last one I'm going to do. It was pretty heavy for me to take on.
It?
Yeah, I mean, it's, well, I participated too.
Right.
In the exercises, which are draining in and of themselves, and then like trying to run them as well. It was a lot. So it was a good experience.
Well, I loved it.
Thanks.
So if you ever do one again, I want in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we need to like catch up. It's been forever. So how are you? Where are you? What are you doing? What's going on with Meghan King?
Yeah, so I am still single. My kids are now all in school. My twins will be in first grade, and my daughter will be in second. And I started doing real estate, selling real estate. So that's been really cool. And I've been thinking about getting into real estate for a while, but I didn't because I travel so much, and I was afraid that if I got my real estate license in Missouri, then I would be trapped in Missouri. And that's like the ultimate like fear of mine, that I'm going to be trapped in somewhere or something. And not like in a claustrophobic type of physical way, but in I'm tied to a certain like person or home or estate or whatever it is.
I get it.
Yeah. So anyways, I put off getting my real estate license. I finally got it. You know why? Because I made my money solely on income from ad revenue on Instagram as an influencer. January 2023, so we're coming up on 2 years now, I stopped showing my kids' faces on Instagram. My ad revenue dropped 80%.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that was validating, but also concerning. I had to do something to
protect your kids.
Yeah, I mean, I have to somehow put food on the table, right? And so it's interesting because it's either like, all right, put my kids on Instagram and basically like people could say exploit them, but stay home with them and like be very flexible, or take them off, protect their identities from what they don't know that, they're being protected from. They don't know what they're exposed to, but then go to work, like go and keep, that's time away from the kids. So it's like, it's a tough choice to make. But anyways, so I digress, and back to real estate. And so I've been able to position my real estate in a way that I can still travel by being a concierge agent, which is essentially a referral agent, but one who is incredibly involved in the sale. So I can go to a sale of a home, let's say in Florida, and co-list it with an agent in Florida and use my social media to make these high-end videos and tours, promote the home, and still make money.
I love
and travel.
That. I love that.
Thanks.
So something you said that I think I want to make sure the listeners understand is that although you have a lot of publicity, a lot of people follow you, a lot of people know you, you're a mom, you're a human, and you have those challenges just like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
I mean, your kids are young.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really tough. I became a single mom right before COVID. My twins were 18 months old. My daughter was just shy of 3. And so I've like had to go through those changes since they were little babies. And here we are. It feels a lot easier now, honestly.
Well, yeah, thank goodness. But you've come through the trenches,
Oh, yeah.
COVID was a wreck for everybody. But I just think coming off of a divorce, it's like there's grieving, there's all the emotions, anger, all these things. And then trying to parent and protect your children and keep yourself going.
Yeah, it's emotionally taxing.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, and I'm still in the trenches of litigation with my ex. Yeah. It's been almost 5 years since we split, and still in active litigation. It's gross. There's no other word for it. Whether like I'm fighting for what I need, or whether, you know, he's trying to, you know, to get whatever he wants, it's still gross. Litigation is never fun.
No.
Ideally, you would have two co-parents who can look at the love they had for their children and have that be enough to overcome like any other boundaries you might experience for like your own egos, you know, with why you guys didn't get along in the first place, why we got divorced in the first place. But that hasn't been the case for me. And people say time heals all wounds, and that's absolutely not the case for me. It's just rewind that, and that's what it's been. It's the worst it's ever been.
Oh, Meghan, I'm so sorry.
I did say though it's the best it's ever been. I've said that publicly because I'm like, maybe that would work. Maybe if I say that publicly, like, that would make him feel better, and like he would treat me better.
I know.
But it didn't.
And you know what? It's real. It's life. You know, divorces can be really ugly. You know, I came from a divorced home.
Oh, you
I
did?
was 3, yeah. 3 when my parents divorced. And I mean, I just remember how tough it was for them. And I've talked to my dad about it after, you know, at length. And I can't imagine, you know, I lost my husband when my kids are little, but divorce is not the same, but there's still grief involved. You're still having to deal with the aftermath of something that you thought was going to work for your future. And so, you know, it's real. And although yours has been more public, it's like, I want people to know you're a real human.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
totally.
trying your absolute best to be the very best person you can be for yourself and your kids.
Yeah, yeah, all the thing and work.
Exactly, and
You
work
know,
and
work.
bring in income.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it for me too. I think a lot of people assume that because I was married to a person who has a lot of money and made a lot of money, that I then like was able to siphon some of that money. And unfortunately, like, well, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, that wasn't the case with me. But like, I never married him for that luxurious part of life or whatever. In fact, it kind of made me not like luxury as much. I've like kind of had to overcome that in the last 5 years because I associated luxury with bad people. And so yeah, like definitely like working my butt off and trying to reinvent myself and still like balance my home life with my kids and my family and friends and everything. Like, you know, you get it.
Totally.
But it's tough to trust again, and not just other people, but trust myself, because I married a person that I didn't know and I thought I did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough. You know, my friend, our age, people now, like people are I'm starting to see some of my friends get divorced, and it's like, you don't know. I mean, marriage is tough no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Right? And then you throw in money, then you throw in fame, then you throw in everyone else's opinions, and
Yeah.
You're just trying to be a mom and a wife and treat your kids with respect. And it's, I mean, I just, you know,
Yeah,
I don't envy you, but I know you personally, and I know that you do work really hard
Thanks.
to
Yeah.
be where you have worked really hard to be where you are today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, I'm just a normal person. I'm a Midwest girl, born and raised in St. Louis, and like, I really just I try to like I'd be as authentic as possible for the sake of my children. But I mean, these are my roots. Like, a lot of people think of me as like you know, California girl, but honestly, I'm probably more East Coast more than anything. But I'm just a regular old woman
that has the same challenges that we all do.
Yeah.
But yours, a lot of times, are put on a spotlight, and you know, I don't think that's fair sometimes.
Oh, it sucks. I mean, like just today, so there's like these people who really hate me, and I mean, I have my suspicions about who's feeding them information, wink, wink. But I was just on a conference call with this company that I'm collaborating with to do an athletic line, and they're based in Dubai. And so I was on this conference call this morning, and they're like, "Oh, we just want to tell you that we got this nasty message saying we shouldn't work with you." And the problem is, like, it has the opposite effect, because what these lines want to see is that people are interested in me and what I'm doing. Well, that's what they're telling them by saying, like, don't work with her. But it's nasty. I mean, who takes time out of their day to go out of their way and write about a stranger, unless it's not a stranger?
Right.
And I'm not a person who has enemies, so,
Right.
you know?
Well, and the thing is, this is what I always say, haters are going to hate. So, you know, for me and my story, I've caught a lot of shame for continuing to try to keep my blog going, keep myself afloat, maintain health and wellness for me and my kids. I've caught a lot of shame while Kyle was sick and even after. And people close to me that I didn't.
They're just looking in the mirror and they're
Exactly
threatened
what
by
it
you.
is. It's exactly what it is. So I
They
always
haven't dealt with their own shit.
I went to, you know, I've done some trauma therapy.
Yeah.
And one of the therapists I work with out of Arizona said when people are pointing at you, truly it's the three fingers pointing back at them that they should be working on. It's like,
Yes.
why and how
That's right.
do we need to be focusing inward. How can we be the best version of ourselves and focus on ourselves and heal our own wounds instead of identifying other people's wounds and pointing out other people's issues?
It's easier. That's easier to do.
It's easier,
It's
but
the road, like, you know, more
most
traveled. Yeah.
Absolutely. But maybe if, you know, through this podcast, maybe this message is what stands true, but let's all focus on healing our wounds.
Right.
And being as kind and gentle of a person as we can, because I believe that we're put on this earth to all work together, right? To be harmonious and make a difference. So for whatever reason, you've been given this platform to make a difference. And so I do want to talk about what your plan is, what your goals are. But for everybody listening, you know, it's let's heal our own wounds and be kind to ourselves and others, because life is hard no matter who you are, no matter what.
I like to think about, like, keep your vibration high, because even like I used to try to fix people. I don't have the energy for that anymore.
Right.
So if you're not going to meet me on my level, like, I'm not even going to apologize for not giving you, like, attention. I don't have time to apologize either.
Totally.
Like, I'm going to vibrate up here and you can meet me there or not. I don't care.
Right. And there are people that aren't going to, and that's okay, right? It's
I don't care. I don't
creating those boundaries. And I recently learned about boundaries. I think I was like 35 years old when I learned about seriously. I'm
Really?
like, what are boundaries again?
Oh, you're a people pleaser.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. I've been
so am I get
boundaryless
it.
my whole life. But now it's like you have to put boundaries to protect yourself, because there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be haters. But guess what? There are going to be people closest to you that actually know you, that care for you, and that are on Team Meghan and on Team Kira and want to help us and walk side by side. And that's why I think we connected, because I think we have a lot in common in that way. It's like, I'm not, you know.
Plow, like, you're going to just keep on keeping on. You're not going to, like, stand in the mud and let, like, it suck you down, right? You're going to fight against it. And that's hard for a lot of people to see.
Yeah.
They don't like it. I don't know why. Maybe, you know what? I think sometimes they think that, like, you should be, I don't know, dress in all black and, like, mourn for ages on decades.
Yes.
You know, like.
Yes, absolutely. People have said things like that to me too, like, how are you already doing this? Like, and I'm like, you know, like, we have to put our boots on, get up and do the best we can for our children and ourselves. Otherwise, we could crawl in a hole and be this super depressed, which, I mean, I've been depressed. I've been anxious. Trust me, like, I've been through the ringer the last few years, as I'm sure you have. And some people are like, well, you put, you know, everything looks so great on social media. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to lead by example and be as positive as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's great. And you are an inspiration, and it's working, so keep it up.
Well, and you are too. And that's why I want to talk about, you know, moving past this kind of stuff. What's the plan now? You're getting into luxury real estate.
Yeah.
What else? Like, what are some goals for you in the future?
To get filthy fucking rich.
Okay. Fair.
I know I associate a lot of success with monetary success, and I know that about myself, and I'm not afraid to say it, because it doesn't make me a bad person to enjoy being in front of a camera. It doesn't make me a bad person to enjoy, like, you know, wealth in the form of dollar bills. But I also recognize, like, how to have the balance with that. You know, money isn't everything. It's, you know, relationships. You can be rich in relationships or rich in experiences. And I think people say that in a cliche way a lot of times, and I really truly don't mean that. And, like, there's a cost to everything that we do, and even if it doesn't cost you dollars. And anyways, I want to be financially very successful. That will allow me to remain independent. That will allow me to forget about, like, any sort of stream of income coming from a person who I no longer know and don't respect. And it will make me feel really good about myself and the example that I'm setting for my daughter. I feel like growing up, I wasn't presented with a lot of sort of angles and I could approach my life as a woman. And it was kind of like, you get married, have babies, and that's that kind of thing. Which is like, I no fault to my parents, you know, I grew up in this incredibly stable house.
Amazing.
Yeah, my parents are still married almost 50 years.
Oh, I love that.
But because I didn't see any like other families in the way that they could look, it was difficult for me to now like forge this journey of like this split family on my own without any examples. And so I want to make sure that my daughter can see all these things. And also I'm like, set yourself up financially. I'm going to teach you how to run a business. I'm going to teach you like how to work the stock market, like things that I wasn't taught.
Oh my gosh, so many things have flooded my brain while I was listening to you. First things first, financial stability. And here's what else it does for us, Meghan, right? It's a tool. So it allows us to help others. It allows us to travel and see the world and opportunities for our children. You know, I'm going to try to teach my kids that too. My husband was a partner at Edward Jones. And so luckily, we are financially stable. I'm able to do things like this.
Right.
And send my kids to private schooling and stay in our house. Thank God. I mean, I can't imagine had he not worked so hard and I had to go back to work full time. You know, it is a struggle for us mothers, even though we may have some stability right now, but long term, it's like we want to provide those opportunities for our children and not have to hold back because of what's happened.
But I don't have that stability right now.
Yeah.
And so like that's like another smoke and mirrors thing where people think like if I'm financially stable because like my ex-husband. And I haven't mentioned this, my son has a disability and he requires a lot of one-on-one attention. Well, that costs money. And not only does it cost money, like I said, there's a cost to everything, it costs time. And that time that it costs me takes me away from building my brand, building my business, like generating financial income for my family. So because of all of those reasons, because of the love I have for my son and like how I strive to help my son in all the ways, that has hurt us as a family financially.
Yes.
And so it's been tough to find a balance, and my safety net has been my parents, and they take my kids when they can. They're emotional bedrocks for me, and
awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, without them, I think I would fall apart.
I mean, I can't imagine. That's actually what I was going to ask you about family support. You have people in St. Louis to support you. Your parents sound like they're stable and awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about siblings? You have siblings?
Yeah, I do. I have a sister here in St. Louis. She has a couple kids, stay-at-home mom, totally different situation from me, like couldn't be more opposite.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. And then I have a sister in Wilmington, Delaware, and a brother in New York City, and I talk to them all the time.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's great. I mean, they don't know, like, they don't understand. They don't have children. They haven't been through divorce. They don't understand, but they're supportive. And then I have close friends, one from college who has a very similar situation to mine with, somebody who just won't let it go. And then another cousin who's local who's been through divorce. And it has come out on the good end for her. Time does heal wounds for some people who don't have personality disorders. But so it's been nice to see her. Like I have this vision of hope for everyone, including myself, and that I won't ever give up on. And I'm not jealous of others in their successes. However, I can be envious. And I think there's a big difference there.
Absolutely.
Because envy, I think evokes like a sort of aspirational type of desire versus jealousy evokes like a negative sort of finger pointing. So I really want to celebrate the successes of people that I see that I wish I had. Maybe I'll have someday.
You will have someday, absolutely. And about your son, if you don't mind talking about this, it's one thing, I think about with my husband passing. I literally pray to God every day that my kids stay healthy, because I can't imagine, Meghan, what it's like with all the things that have been piled on top of you,
Yeah.
to then have a son that is requiring more and more and more help. And it does. So I think the statistic, Meghan, is 9 out of 10 families of a son or daughter that is disabled or has some sort of,
Like extra need.
correct, divorce. It splits up families.
That's one of the needs, divorce?
No, I'm saying 9 out of 10 families, when there is something tragic or a serious
There is a
disease,
divorce then.
Yes. It's
Oh,
cause for divorce.
yeah.
Cancer. I mean, it's
totally.
so ugly. So I just, I commend you for what you're doing. And I don't know. I mean, how do you stay mentally stable and stay one foot in front of the other? Like, what do you do for
Health, like I work out a lot and I have to move my body, but like it's also kind of a paradox because I don't eat when I'm stressed, but I have to exercise. I don't exercise to lose weight. I exercise for muscle mass because it gives me energy, and I exercise for like a mental release.
Absolutely.
And so like I have to move all the time. So that's been incredibly helpful. Music is God's gift to us, and I use it as that. And like I don't know, all those like other like weird hippie modalities that I benefit from, like breath work.
Yes. All those things. I know, and I think wellness is the trend is going up, which is amazing, right? Sober curious is a new thing.
Yeah.
And all that, and meditation. Do you do meditation?
Oh yeah, I do a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I also am like you. Like I have to work out, and that's something that I caught a lot of shame for while Kyle was sick. Because I would escape to the gym, and it's the only place.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
That seems just like the natural response. Like go like get it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
it's what I do.
with your weights.
Exactly.
Like,
It's what I needed.
It's visceral.
It was the only place that I felt less stress, not completely stress-free. I still thought about cancer all day, every day, the whole time. I mean, he battled for 17 months, but it was the only place I felt relief. But it is, exercise, it is mental.
Yeah.
It's emotional. And yes, it's good for your body, it's healthy for your body, but I just think if everybody could realize that, and not look at it as such a chore, but like, I get to exercise my body.
Right.
And it helps my brain. It helps everybody. It helps me to be the best version of me, and you be the best version of you. So then we're better moms.
I think there's a lot to be said too about like starting something from scratch and finishing it. And I mean that in everything. Like if you're, making a meal for your family, you're going to appreciate that meal more than you would if you got DoorDash.
Totally.
And so I think that there's that extends to your body. You're going to appreciate your body more when you're putting in the work to do it, because it's you see the journey that you feel it as you're going through a spin class or you're running outside, and when you're done you just feel way more satisfied and proud of yourself for doing that, and grateful for the body that you've been given.
Exactly. And celebrating that.
Right.
Because it is God's gift.
Yeah,
right?
and like without this our bodies being healthy, what are we going to do with our kids?
Well, that's the thing. Without health, you have nothing.
No.
And it's true. And also for our kids to see us working out, exercising, prioritizing our health, starting a business. Like, how amazing is it for them to see my mom has been through something. And someday when they're way older, they're going to look back, and when they're adults, and they're going to realize, wow, like she kept going.
Oh, yeah. They know I sell houses. That's what they'll say. They'll say, oh yeah, she sells houses. Before that, I don't think they said she works on her phone. Yeah. I'm like, oh, great.
I know.
Like, ugh.
I know.
But I did. I was a social media influencer, right?
I know.
But it's so funny. So I learned how to scuba dive during the pandemic, and I did that for myself. I called it a master date.
I love it.
Master the dating yourself before you go out and date others.
Totally.
And my children are so proud of me being a scuba diver.
That's amazing.
And I think because it's probably just really easy to actually see it, you know, like I put on my neoprene, I have my big bag and all and my mask and everything, and they're so proud of it. And I think they know that it's something that not everybody does. So it's exactly what you're saying. Like they're little, and so they see stuff that's cool, looks like scuba diving for them.
Totally.
And it is cool. But as they get older, they'll be able to look back and recognize my mom started a business. Like my mom still prioritized her health and all of those other things, and that's going to give them like the oomph and the ambition that they need to then, you know, jump into something. What's their excuse going to be? Like try to top yours. Try to top your excuse. They can't.
Totally. And you can do that and be a good mother. And it helps you be a good mother. And I think so much of what we say to our children, we want them to soak in, but let's be honest. They're going to soak in what we do.
Our actions.
Our actions. And so what you've done and continue to do throughout your struggles and what life has thrown at you, I want people to know, like, this is, you're doing it.
It's a journey, right?
It is a journey. And everyone goes through a journey, right? Like, we're not the only two to struggle in big ways. A lot of people are, and we're more public about it.
Right.
But hoping other people can learn from what we've been through, right? And relate and know that they're not alone.
There's people have asked me how do you find balance, and I say there's no balance because time is the resource the only resource we can't get back, and there's no balance within that. Like you and I have been given too many roles that we have to excel in, and so you can't balance that. So, but what you can do is you can prioritize a few and get them do really well at those, and others will suffer. So like that's when you can't. One shouldn't be comparing themselves to another because you might look at someone and say they're working out all the time, therefore they're prioritizing like losing weight. Well, no, really, they might be prioritizing their mental health.
1,000%.
You know? So,
1,000%.
Yeah. So I think it's like learn how to balance within like your pie of time with your priorities. And because you can't like people, stay-at-home moms, for instance, they can prioritize being a great stay-at-home mom. That's not something that I'm able to prioritize, and I'm not going to feel guilty about that.
Or apologize for it.
No.
Because we're all given different gifts. I'm with you. I know.
Yeah, that's like a convoluted explanation, but
no, I know
there's no balance.
I know exactly what you mean, and it's so funny because I posted something about prioritizing and habits today because
did you?
It's like write down what's important to you, right? Like your faith, your family, whatever it is, and like, all right, am I spending my time focusing on this?
Right.
Or is my time elsewhere? Am I spending my efforts, my money? I mean, it's really simple and basic.
It's all energy.
Exactly.
Money, too.
And the extra stuff, you know, it's extra. And if you get to it, great.
Right.
But focusing on your priorities and your family, and we're part of the family, right? Like, without moms.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
And that's something my therapist had said to me, like, Kira, you're an important part of this family, too.
That's it. Bingo. Like, when you think about, if you had all of the money and everything in the world, and you have to leave your house to go do something, your children have to be left with a nanny or a babysitter. How are you going to treat that nanny or the babysitter? You're going to treat them amazing. You're going to pay them the most you possibly can. You're going to tell them to do all the cool things with your kids. You're going to give them all the free reign for like whatever food the children need, whatever they need. Well, who's doing that for the mom? When you and I there's no husband involved anymore for you and for me. And so who's doing that for us?
No one.
We are doing that for us. And we have to make sure that we're doing that for us.
Totally. And, you know, I hear a lot of times with cancer caregivers, spouses of cancer patients, it is easy to let go of yourself. I hear it time and time
Caregiver
again.
burnout? Is that kind of?
Yes. And then when and if that cancer patient dies, which not all of them are terminal, people are left in just an absolute mess. Their health, their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health, everything.
Probably
is
their
a mess.
Identity too.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so Kyle's oncologist warned me, you have got to take care. Yes, you have got to take care of yourself throughout this because it is all encompassing. It is.
Yeah.
And I mean, trauma, grief, whatever it is, divorce, it can be all encompassing. And if you don't make yourself a priority, it's not about being selfish. It's not about being narcissistic, which is, I've been called narcissistic before.
Well, yeah, so have I.
And it's really hurtful because it's like, I think about my kids constantly. Kyle's cancer, trying to keep him alive and well, trying to keep my kids going, trying to keep my house afloat, all our bills, all these things. And I prioritize my mental health and my physical health. There's an and there. We can do it.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. In fact, a lot of times it's ugly.
Yeah.
But one foot in front of the other, and the whole family unit, we all are important. And, you know, oftentimes as caregivers and mothers.
Yeah, it's tough. Like with my son, who's like disability has also been an evolving journey. In the early days before we had a diagnosis, I would take him to therapy, and I was all in, right, like in every single way. And then I started like kind of looking at other caregivers a lot. Most of the time it was mothers, but not all the time. And and what I noticed is that became their identity. Their child's disability became their identity.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't let that happen for the sake of my other children, for the sake of myself.
Absolutely.
You know, so I made sure to do what your oncologist said, to take care of myself. And because of that, I felt like I should feel guilty, but I didn't.
And that's okay. It's good
Yeah.
not to feel guilty. You know, I worked at a camp for kids with serious and fatal skin conditions, and
Oh,
exactly
gosh.
what you just said, I know.
That sounds
The
really challenging.
Yes, and the siblings of these patients, a lot of these kids had epiderma bullosa, which basically is they don't have the top layer. The top layer of their skin doesn't have protein, so it bubbles up and they get infections. It's crazy.
No.
Yes, and that's where
Like all the time?
all the time, everywhere. So
Like,
that's
does something have to irritate it first?
no, they just literally the top layer of their skin doesn't form like ours do, so they have blisters everywhere and infections, and so that's where I learned about 9 out of 10 families split up. Financially, it drains them.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, and I don't think people really realize it unless they've gone through it. Cancer drains families.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah.
Disabilities drain families. And oftentimes some parents lose their jobs because of it or have a hard time keeping a job because of it. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm there. Like a lot of times I think of like a sickness. If a sickness ends, like if there's a start and an end, like it's done.
Yeah.
But like my child, it's like evolving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish. Sometimes, like, this is so weird, but my cousin's kid has a heart condition, and he has to get open heart surgery. But I'm like, but then it's over, and then you go on and live a normal life. Like, yeah, it's scary, and it's open heart surgery, and your kid is really little. But I'm like, I have this son with this invisible disability, and it affects everything, like my job. So, like my other kids, you know.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to
Yeah.
say. The siblings of those kids, to keep those kids individualized and give them the time and support that they need is very difficult.
Yeah, they're like forgotten. Or they could be. They could be.
Unless you're conscious about it. And I think you do a really good job, from what I can tell, of paying attention to the others.
Yeah, I try really hard, and to celebrate like their successes too, and not comparing them, you know, to one another, because they're individuals.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Meghan, first of all, how can people get a hold of you if they want to use you for luxury real estate? What is your
Yeah, any kind of real estate, really.
Any kind of real estate.
Yeah, any
Okay.
real estate at all. Go to my Instagram, go to Meghan King, and you'll be able to find me. It has an H in it, but even if you forget that, you'll be able to find me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just go there and send me a DM.
Awesome. And you do all over the country?
Yeah,
not
all
just-
over the country. I'll fly out and do a video. I was just looking at a couple edits this morning from 2 houses that I did in North Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and it's just fun to like, you know, go out, and they're funny. I do like
I
a
love
little
your
comedic
videos. They're great.
spin.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so check out Meghan's Instagram. Send her a message if you're looking into real estate or you want a new agent.
Yeah, if you're selling specifically, wherever you are, if you're selling, call me first, even if you already have an agent you want to work with, because that way, legally, that's how it has to happen. And then I can go out to your place, and you're just going to get not even twice as much marketing on your house, like 1,000 times more marketing on your house if you just call me first. So that's the most important thing.
Okay, and check out, she already has them posted that are phenomenal.
Yeah,
so
check it out.
Check her out. Okay, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on,
for having
Meghan.
me.
It's
This has
so
been
great catching
fun.
up. You
Yeah.
look fabulous.
Thanks.
The best is yet to come.
That's right.
For both
That's
of us.
right.
Yep,
Woo, woo.
exactly. So I want to